Hi, this is Scott. Welcome back to the MAMIL channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about bikes. Boys and girls, who cycle, we love our bikes. We love riding them. We love buying them, and we like talking about them a little bit too. Or certainly some of us do, including me. So at the moment, I actually have three bikes. I have a mountain bike, which I can't even tell you what it is. It sits in the garage these days. 5 years ago I got my first road bike, and it kind of made the mountain bike redundant for me. Road biking is my thing. I know some people are totally the opposite way, and some people like doing both just as much. But for me, road biking is really kind of the thing I love. And that's the thing I want to carry on doing. So it's actually my road bikes that I'm going to talk about in this video, not my mountain bike. Now, to start off with, in terms of road bikes, so 5 years ago, I bought myself, from a friend of mine, from Martin, I bought a Specialized Allez, aluminium frame and forks and what have you, rim brakes. And it had, in terms of components, it had a Shimano group set, but it was a bit of a combination of different parts. So some of it was 105, but a lot of it was Tiagra. So fairly low end, but perfect for me as a starter bike. Absolutely perfect. Over the first year and a couple of months that I over the time that I had it. We covered, I probably did about 1,000 miles on that bike. Absolutely loved it. Brilliant starter bike. And yeah, really, really solid, for the money that I paid for it, a couple of £100. It was a really good bike, really good. I then sold it on to a friend of mine, who's still got it now. So it's still not in the family as such, but I still know the guy who has it now. So, and we did a couple of really good rides together. So we did my first 45-mile ride, which was the Palace to Palace charity ride that's done for the Prince's Trust every year. That was my first kind of long ride, as I felt at the time. And we also did. I also did the Dartmoor Classic, the 67-mile route on the Dartmoor Classic. I did that on the Allez after I'd had it for about a year as well. But that was around the time that I was looking to do longer distances more often. The Dartmoor Classic was kind of the first long ride, I would say, that I've really kind of done distant, compared to what I do nowadays, still not that long, but it was a good ride for me to be doing at the time. And so I decided to get a new bike. Much as I love the Allez, I needed to have a bike that I felt like I could ride all day. And the answer was the Specialized Roubaix that I ended up buying. So I bought that from Pedal Heaven, which is a bike shop, was my local bike shop at the time in Fleet in Hampshire. It was an SL4. It was a 2016 model. I bought it towards the end of 2015, but it was the brand new model at the time. So it was a 2016 model. Again, it was rim brakes, but it was full Shimano 105. So it was a slightly higher spec group set, but full carbon frame, and all the little inserts and so on in the forks and the frame and the seat post that just were all about riding the bumps, taking the bumps, and comfort. And it really is a bike that I can literally ride all day long. We've covered thousands of miles together. We've done some great rides together. I've taken it up and down the Surrey Hills, sort of Leith Hill, Box Hill. We've done that loads of times. Loads of sort of local rides around the area where I live. I did my first 100-mile ride on the Roubaix. Absolutely fantastic bike. I still have it now. It's my winter bike. It's the bike that I have set up on my indoor trainer, on my smart trainer, that I use year round, actually, when I don't want to ride outside, usually because the weather's too bad here in the UK. So I actually got the Roubaix from Pedal Heaven, as I mentioned. I went along to the store, and Des looked after me while I was there. One of his guys, Charlie, looked after me, and I test rode a Specialized tarmac, and immediately afterwards the Roubaix. And as soon as I rode the Roubaix, I thought this is the one for me. The tarmac, was a much more aggressive bike, and you felt the lumps and bumps in the road. So I could probably ride it faster, but I couldn't ride it. I didn't at the time. I didn't feel like I could ride it for long, and that was what I was trying to do at the time. I was trying to ride for longer, for further distances. So it had to be the Roubaix, and I never regretted that decision. At the time, it felt 100% like the right thing to do, and I never regretted it afterwards. So yeah, a great bike. And then earlier this year, back in March, I went on my first cycling holiday with Gearly Beloved, a group that I'm a member of. I ride with those guys quite a lot. So a group of us went out to Mallorca for a cycling holiday. We did 3 days of riding while we were there. And we all made an independent choice as to what bikes we were going to hire. No, we didn't take bikes. We hired bikes over there. And I decided that I would hire a Trek Madone. I really liked the look of it, and I wanted to give it a go. I could have done that over here, but I thought, 3 days, I'm going to hire one of those, and just see how I get on with it. And some of the other guys had other Treks. We had another guy who had a Giant TCR, another guy who had a Pinarello. But most of us were on Treks. I was the only one on a Madone. And honestly, I absolutely loved it. It felt again like I could ride it all day. It does have like dampeners in the frame and things like that. So it was a comfortable bike. I have to say the roads in Mallorca were generally beautiful to ride on anyway. But it also felt fast as well. Sort of you get it sort of 15 miles an hour, get it sort of up to that sort of first 15 miles an hour, and then from then onwards, the bike just felt like it wanted to go. So that sort of 15 to 20 mile an hour sort of bridge where you're sort of going from a steady ride, a very sort of slow ride really, to something really speedy. That sort of bridge just felt like it was a lot easier than my Roubaix. So I got on brilliantly with the Madone. We went up and down the climbs. We did Sacalobra. We did the lighthouse at Formentor, and a few, some flat, lots of flat bits as well. And I just felt like it was a great all-round bike. So actually, when we came back to the UK, I started shortlisting bikes that I could potentially buy as my next one. And there's a few reasons why I wanted to change. I wanted to go with disc brakes. The one I had in Mallorca had rim brakes, but I'd always wanted my next bike to have disc brakes. I've got hydraulic discs on my mountain bike, so I know how good they are compared to rims. And particularly when rims get dirty when you're riding out on the road in the wet or whatever. So I wanted disc brakes. I wanted something that was higher spec components, like Ultegra sort of components. Assuming I stuck with Shimano, and I actually wanted something that was more aggressive. Between when I bought the Roubaix and when I was looking earlier this year at bikes, my riding styles changed quite a lot. I now spend a lot more time on the drops. A lot more time either with my hands hanging over the front of the handlebars in a sort of time trial-y sort of type position, or even with clip-on time trial bars, which I've used a few times. So my riding styles changed a lot in the nearly 4 years since I got the Roubaix. So I shortlisted quite a few. I shortlisted on my shortlist. I had things like brands like Bianchi, Cannondale, Canyon, Specialized, and of course the Trek Madone. That was on the shortlist because of course I'd ridden one in Mallorca, and the initial plan was to actually go out and do some test rides. I knew what the Madone felt like, but I wanted to maybe compare it to some others. So I shortlisted a few, and I was on the verge of of actually trying to organise some rides, and in the end, I just thought, you know what, I just love that Madone. So I ordered one. I just took the plunge and I just ordered one day. You know, and I ordered it through another local bike store that was it's in Farnham, called Hoops Velo. Gary looked after me in Hoops. I ordered it online. You know, I had a conversation with him on the phone, but then ordered it online. Went and picked it up a few days later. He had one in stock. So, and yeah, it's you know, it's a marked step up from you know, the Roubaix SL4. It's in terms of spec, it's an SLR6. So in terms of Madones, it's at the low end of the Madone range, to be honest. It's disc brakes, of course. I said I wanted that. And it's Ultegra. It's Shimano Ultegra, you know, but it's not Di2. It's mechanical. Maybe I'll switch to Di2 in the future. I don't know, but it's the standard spec bike. You know, it's bog standard spec in terms of an SLR6 disc. You know, it's one of the stock colours, as you'll see from the pictures. So when I picked it up, you know, I had a bit of an issue with the saddle height. So I'm 6'1", but I've actually got quite a long torso and slightly shorter legs. So I ordered, you know, when I was in Mallorca, I'd ridden a 58 centimeter frame. My Roubaix are 56, but I'd ridden a 58 centimeter frame. And when I went to pick my Madone up from Hoops, you know, I had it on a trainer in the store with Gary, and I just could not get the saddle low enough in the seat tube for me to feel like I was in the right position. So actually, Gary had a 56 in the store as well. So we actually swapped the seat posts. So I've actually got a 58 centimeter frame, but I've actually got the seat post from the 56. And that has worked brilliantly for me. You know, I mean, there's plenty of movement up and down in the seat post, but I've got it smack bang in the middle in terms of, you know, the play that there is within the tube, and it just feels like the right height for me. And the riding position, yeah, I mean, it's that sort of more aggressive. You know, the handlebars are lower than on the Roubaix. It's a much more aggressive position for me, and I do spend a lot of time down on the drops when I'm riding it. So it's ticked all the boxes for me in terms of the kind of riding that I want to do. You know, I can still ride it a long time. I can still ride it all day. But also, you know, it wants to go fast, which is great because I want to go fast too, don't we all? So we've already done. I've already done about 1,000 miles, I would say, in the 3 months nearly that I've had the Madone, and that's included 2 100-mile rides. Velo Birmingham was in May, and I did that on the Madone. And one of the training rides that I'd done before Velo, which went up into the Surrey Hills, I did that on the Madone as well. So that was actually the first ride where I really felt dialed into the bike, and it's also the longest ride I've ever done, 104 miles. So yeah, that was a great day. That was a great day. It was a great ride, and I love riding the Madone. So yeah, that's me in terms of bike. So I'll keep my Roubaix for a long time, I'm sure, as my winter bike, and the Madone as my main bike, as my best bike, as my summer bike. Call it what you will. But yeah, so that's enough about me and the bikes that I have. If you've liked this video, you can give it a thumbs up. You know, you can subscribe to the channel as well, because that's the kind of thing YouTubers like to get you to do. And in the description, you'll also be able to follow the MAMIL channel on all different forms of social media. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope to talk to you again on another MAMIL channel video. Thanks very much. Bye bye.